Thanks for staying with us. The SACP and the family of slain Chris Hani say they're disappointed by the Constitutional Court's dismissal of their application. They had applied to the Apex Court to reconsider its earlier judgment to release murderer Janusz Walus on parole. The court dismissed the application yesterday, saying the applicant failed to make a strong case. For more on this, we're joined on the line by SACP spokesperson Alex Mashilo. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You've expressed your sentiments around the Apex Court's dismissal of the application to reconsider that November 21st judgment to release Janusz Walus on parole. Now, after exhausting all legal options, you're still determined, saying that the matter cannot end here. You're taking it further to the African Commission.
Yes, the matter cannot end here. You will remember that one of our grounds for asking the Constitutional Court to reconsider its judgment with a view of rescinding it, or alternatively, adding a detailed legal evaluation of both our written and oral submissions, even if those were to be not in our favor. When you look at that ground, the Constitutional Court says in dismissing our application that there was a substantial overlap between the submissions made by the minister and those made by the SACP and the Hani family, and that by adequately evaluating the submissions of the minister, that covered the SACP and the Hani family. We disagree with the Constitutional Court. If you look at the judgment, they are quite deliberate in referring to the minister's submissions, but there is no detailed legal evaluation of the submissions made by the SACP and the Hani family. It cannot be that considering the minister's submissions automatically covers the SACP and the Hani family, who have made a separate submission. Even if, for example, there was a substantial overlap between our submissions and those of our ministers. And overlap does not mean congruency. There are areas that would not have been covered in the minister's submission, but are in our submission. And those areas, in our view, as advised by our legal team, the reason why we went to the court, we did so for the court to give due consideration to our submission. So the matter cannot end here, which is why we are approaching the African Commission on Human and People's Rights in response to the Constitutional Court judgment. Our legal team will be working 24 hours every day to make sure that our application goes through. In fact, I can say, disclosing for the first time on this program, that all they are waiting for from the Commission is the case number so that we can move on with our papers. With
human and people's rights being considered, we know that South Africans have been up in arms over the news of the parole being granted. What considerations will you be putting before the Commission when it comes to some of the very sentimental thoughts and feelings around the release, and what you believe that the Constitutional Court may have failed to look at?
If you look at the judgment of the Constitutional Court, you will no doubt conclude based on its text that the Constitutional Court vehemently says that the rights of the assassin have been violated. Our understanding all along was that parole is not a right but a privilege. Secondly, it is as if the assassin, if his rights were violated, is the only person whose rights were violated. While on the other hand, in fact, the assassin violated Chris Hani's supreme right to life when he assassinated him in cold blood on 10 April 1993. It cannot be that the privileges of the assassin are more important than the life that he eliminated permanently. We disagree with that. And by not giving due consideration to our submissions, we believe that the Constitutional Court has denied us equal access to the court and to justice as public service. If you look at the judgment, the Constitutional Court goes into detail in assessing the submissions made by the assassin. In addition, the Constitutional Court conducted research in favor of the submissions made by the assassin. On the other hand, look at our submissions, both written and oral submissions. There is nothing substantial in the judgment that shows that the Constitutional Court granted us equal access to justice and to the court as an institution of public service. This is among the grounds we will be approaching the Commission based upon.
Now, you've also launched a 135-day program of mass mobilization supported by a wide array of organizations, including the ANC and COSATU. How's it going to work in terms of planning and logistics, and perhaps some of the messages that you're hoping to convey? Because, you know, the time frame goes into the new year as well.
Yes, the time frame goes into the new year, right into 10 April 2023. That will be the 30th anniversary of the commemoration of Chris Hani's assassination. On Wednesday this week, we were in Polokwane. We picketed outside the High Court of South Africa, the Polokwane, the Limpopo division. And you will know that last week we went on Wednesday to the Hoshimampuru prison together with our allies, the ANC and COSATU, supported by other associated and different organizations like the Umkhonto weSizwe, Liberation War Veterans, as well as student organizations. So we went there at the Hoshimampuru prison as a massive march. And in different provinces, we are holding pickets. In the Western Cape, we have done so twice already. In KwaZulu-Natal, we have done so. We are going to be continuing with this mobilization. And we believe that this mobilization must bring about a change in South Africa. It cannot be that the rights or the privileges of the perpetrators of the heinous crimes such as assassination, murder, and rape are elevated above the rights of the victims or their families. We don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm. I understand you've also demanded a full inquest into the assassination of Chris Hani, because I would imagine that there are still many unanswered questions.
Indeed, there are so many unanswered questions. You know, if you lived under apartheid, that you were talking about a security and defense state, a state that unleashed violence against the oppressed people. It cannot be that somebody gained access to military armory to either steal or take a weapon that would later be used in the assassination of Chris Hani. Where is that perfect? Where are the other people who moved the weapon from place to place using their hands? Where are those who supplied the silencer? Where is the man whose farm was used to test the weapon? Where is that lady in whose hand the authorities found a hit list on which Chris Hani was number 3? Now, these are among the unanswered questions, and that's why we are pushing for a full inquest into the assassination of Chris Hani and the surrounding circumstances. We believe that this full inquest could take us to realizing full disclosure of the truth and holding accountable those who have not been held accountable.
So how are you going to approach that as you try and get this inquest?
We have already, through the memorandum that we are submitting to the authorities, made that demand. You will know that one of the SACP leaders and members was killed by the police in Johannesburg Central Police Station. Ahmed Timo, his family led a gallant fight in realizing an inquest into that killing. The SACP supported that. There was another case. So we hope to make this the third case, and our Central Committee that said last weekend expanded the campaign to other apartheid victims to seek justice for their families. We are building a movement now out of this Chris Hani campaign, because it cannot be that the unrepentant and unremorseful perpetrators of apartheid are celebrating while the victims of apartheid or their community is disappointed with the events as they are unfolding.
When it comes to inquests and the processes that come with it, there's often been a lot of criticism, authorities being accused of looking and moving too slowly in trying to unravel the truth and bring some closure to families who are desperately looking for answers.
Yes, in 2020-2021, the Department of Justice and Correctional Services, or in fact the National Prosecuting Authority, announced that they have assigned a number of prosecutors to look at apartheid killings, following up on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report. We hope that to be expedited, and we want to see it expedited, and we want to see the cases that we are taking forward, such as that of the credo, for also being prioritized in the process. Our democratic dispensation will not be complete without full accountability to what happened to the families of the stalwarts of our struggle for liberation and social emancipation.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. Let's leave it there for now. That was SACP spokesperson Alex Mashilo detailing the organization's plan when it comes to taking the matter further following the release on parole of Janusz Walus.